I got my first weight bench when I was 11. So I had Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, and I was one of those weird kids that was buying protein at the mall at 12. No. What do you got in there? So I know how to work out. So for me, a good hotel gym, I can get a great workout in.
I remember. Let me know if you remember this. We were working on some music or writing some songs, and was at your house in Houston. And I believe this was the Hakeem Olajuwon pad, right? Beautiful palatial estate.
I used to live in Hakeem Olajuwon's old house in Houston. The first house I bought in Houston was Hakeem Olajuwon's old house at Northgate Forest. And at the time, I was young, making more money than I'd ever seen in my life. And I bought this 6,800 square foot house with a 600 square foot pool house. And if you go on YouTube and look at the Holla to the World video, that's the house and I have my own gym in there, yada, yada, yada. But
we worked out in that gym, and I was trying to figure out how to work out and everything else. And I remember we were flipping a tire next to hour and a half in, and I couldn't tell. I was like, is he trying to kill me? I got nothing to do with no rap music. Anyway, I remember I got to the point I was about to throw up, and then I just felt like leaving Earth, and I get up, and I'm turned around, and it was like, not in the pool. And he threw me towards the bush because I was right over the pool, and I just was like,
don't throw up in the pool.
Do you remember that?
I do, now that you mention it, yeah. I'm like, yeah, not in the pool, not in the pool.
I never worked out that hard in my life. I was like, is he trying to kill me, man?
No, actually, it's not to the question, but as a little bonus, if you will. The way that I used to stay in shape, at that time I was wrestling in New Japan. And in my backyard, I had a tire from a tractor trailer. And I had this whole routine put together. And it would take me, I would flip the tire. I would do box jumps on and off the tire. I had a mace.
Jumps. That's very
tire jumps.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, as we like, box jump your way out this triangle choke. I would do the box jumps on and off the tire. I would hit it with the mace. Then I would drag it down, and I would do it back. And then I had the rope where I would pull it, and I would set a 15-minute time limit to complete it. And on my best day, I could get it done by like 11 minutes. And then I'd be so exhausted and be so hot, I would literally just fall into the pool and just And when I would come home from New Japan from my tour, I would, and this is embarrassing to admit, but I will tell you, I would get an ounce of weed, my bong, I'd order a pizza with pepperoni, mushroom, extra cheese. I would swing through, CVS was right down the street, and I would get 2 pints of Ben & Jerry's fish food, and what is that? Poppycock, which is this, it's like Cracker Jack, but a little bit better because it has macadamia nuts or pralines, whatever. And I would put all that in the house, and I would camp out on my couch for the next 2 or 3 days, smoking out, eating absolute garbage. I was probably in a diabetic coma and didn't know it. And then when it was time to go back to Japan, and I knew, okay, back, I would take 3-4 days before it was time to go, and I go back in the backyard and I do that routine and I get myself through. So I knew if I could get through that routine, I got a 20-minute match in me, no problem.
Okay.
So that's why for a lot of people, it was ridiculously hard. For me, it wasn't as hard because I was conditioned. I was making sure that I was conditioned to be able to do a 20-minute match.
So for all those MVP fans who see me and say, oh man, I haven't seen you wrestle in a long time. I've never wrestled a day in my life. And that workout routine proves that I will never, ever be a wrestler. Ever.
I'm always amused by people because Dwayne is a big guy. And it's funny, people go, oh yeah, I've seen you on TV before. You lying, bro. Stop. You ain't never. But
so the MVP character has, in the last, couple years, developed a new piece of hardware, the cane. Is that based on injury?
So that came about because initially, during the pandemic period, during the Thunderdome era,
Pandemic P.
Pandemic P was a menace. During the Thunderdome era, we had a a match where my good friend, the ultimate bro,
Riddle.
yeah, Matt Riddle, they were really, really getting him over at the time. So we had a match where he ended up beating me, Cedric, and Shelton. So we had to put it together where we kind of had like some internal riffing where he was able to capitalize on us kind of beefing to beat us. And at the end, he rolled me up and he grabbed me in a heel hook. And for those of you that don't know, a heel hook is a potentially lethal, legitimate move where all the tendons and ligaments in your knee can be ripped out if the person who's executing it wants to. I've been to jiu-jitsu tournaments where I've seen guys that didn't tap fast enough. It's a sickening sound when you hear that ripping, popping sound. Well, in this case, I had on wrestling boots and he grabbed the heel hook and there was no malice on his part. He didn't mean to hurt me. It was a complete accident. But when he cinched up on it, I felt my knee pop.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, damn, And come to find out, we had an MRI, and I had a torn meniscus. Well, in my right knee, prior to that, I had already torn my meniscus in that same exact spot twice before. So for years, I was always wearing the knee brace and all that because I'd had knee issues. And then I had to go out, and I think it was the following week, and do a match. But they taped everything up heavily, and the doctor said, okay, we're gonna let you do this match, but don't do too much. And I went out and I tore the other side that night.
Oh, man.
So both sides of the meniscus and that knee were torn.
No, I've never experienced that. Is that painful?
Very painful. Very painful. It's not like tearing ligaments or tendons, but it is still very painful. And it's difficult to walk, very ginger, but it's not, you can still walk. It's just extremely painful.
And this is live on television.
Live on TV.